Hello, brave people. So I'll discuss a little bit about the challenges when defining the study population. The first challenge is defining the target population, and we have 4 points here to take into account. The first of them is the phase of the study. So Professor Anderson wants to perform a phase 3 study. So he has to think of a population which is as broad as possible to increases the external validity of his study, because he wants results which can be generalized to the population. And we're talking about validity is the second point here. Validity, we have to balance it, internal and external validity, and we do that with inclusion and exclusion criteria when selecting the population. So he wants a great external validity, but remembering that the study has to have great high internal validity, otherwise it doesn't have external validity. The third point here is the response to treatment, and an important thing is considering that variability of the sample is different from variability of response. So if the treatment response is not related to that variability of the sample, it doesn't matter if it's variable. And here the point is the expertise of the physician or the researcher, because it's important to know before the study what interferes on the response to treatment. And the fourth point, defining the target population, is the safety issues, always remembering that you don't have to expose population to risks. And the other challenge, a great challenge, is sampling. And we have 3 points here to talk about, to think about. The first one is sampling bias. They are unpredictable, and they are a threat to external validity. And sample bias, just remembering that it's different from selection bias. Sample bias is when the accessible population is different from the target population. And the second point is sampling error, which are predicted and can be calculated if you take into account the standard error, coefficient of variance, confidence intervals, and p-values, and they can be calculated. And the third point is sampling techniques. There are two types, non-probability and probability, and of course we always have a probability technique, because it means all the subjects have the same probability to get into the study. And there are a few types of probability sampling technique, and a simple, random, systematic, stratified, cluster, or disproportional. And these are all the researcher must know these kinds of techniques and advantages and disadvantages. So there are all these kinds of challenges and many things to think of when you're defining your study population. It was only a summary of the chapter 3, and I put this way in a mind map to try to simplify things. I hope I helped a little bit.